Cool. No, give me 1 second. I need to pretend I have hair. Okay. Hello, Zulul. So I decided to do another talk show with Pasco, and this time I decided to talk about sexual taboos, I guess you could say. There's a lot of talk usually in personal conversations about a lot of stuff like weird fetishes like necrophilia and excrement fetish and stuff. Then you have these new this new movement of transgender people coming out, right? And obviously you have like incest all the time. I mean, I'm sure you Kikona viewers can relate. So I decided to give you all my peace of mind on that thing. I'm not sure where I should start though. Alright, let's start with the incest, right? For those who don't know, incest is a sexual intercourse with a relative of your family. I'm not sure how far the rule actually goes, if it like has to be your cousin or your second cousin. I know a cousin is still an incest. Cousin is your parents' sibling offspring, right? So your mom's brother, which is your uncle, he has a child, that's your cousin. If you have a sexual intercourse with him, it's called an incest. The reason why why it was called a special name, I mean, why are we even calling it an incest? Why is that even a topic? It's because if you have a sex with someone closely related to you, as I said, I don't know exactly how far the person has to not be related to you to this not to apply anymore. The child you would make would have genetical inconsistencies. I'm not sure, like deficiencies. That's a better word for it. So your child could be born with like no arms, for example, or some mental. He could have some mental issues and stuff. So that is why it's banned to do. So people don't actually have offspring. So they don't intentionally make handicapped children. It's not fair for the children, right? As far as I know, I mean, I'm not sure if it's a conspiracy theory still or a fact, but in Norway they have a big issue because their country was always very segregated from all the other countries. Like, even Sweden, they didn't really mix too much. So most of Northerners are actually relative to each other, close or far. So there is actually a lot of mental illnesses like Down syndrome, way more than in other countries. It's actually a study that was made, I believe. Alright, so incest. What do I think about incest? Kekona W Club. I don't think incest is wrong whatsoever. Obviously, there are exceptions, but those exceptions should apply into any sexual relationship, not just the one between relatives. Therefore, okay. So shuts the fuck up. 1 second. Jdeš klidně a budeš držet hubu. Ať. Ahoj, Pepe. No. Pupu. 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 Alright, so I don't actually find incest wrong whatsoever. Obviously, if it's an incest between a father or mother and a child, then it can be implied that the child was actually forced into such a relationship, right? Which is definitely wrong. So obviously, if one of the parties got manipulated into the relationship, and obviously it is wrong. But let's say the easiest example, brother and a sister or two cousins together, if they actually do love each other, I don't see an issue with it. I don't know what the legality of this issue is right now. I know that in NA it's relatively common. It's not common, but it's more common than in other countries. And I really don't find anything bad on it because there is literally no rule that kinda makes you not love your relative sexually. Love your relative. There is just like no biological reason for it whatsoever to not work. It just can't. And I don't think people that love each other that are relatives should be kept away from each other just because of interbreeding, which is a result of incest, is the child, right? That is the issue. If they never make a child, then there is no child that's gonna be hurt by that relationship. So what is wrong with them loving each other and having sex together? If they make sure they are protected and they're not gonna intentionally make a handicapped offspring, then I don't see a problem. Obviously, there are social stigmas about it. Like, you just don't fuck your sister, right? Like, it's just something we don't do. And that probably moves me to the other topic, which is transgender people, right? So this is still widely discussed topic over the world. As in, are these people that decide to go through the hormone therapy to change their gender, are they actually the gender in the first place? As in, is this man born as a man actually a woman? Alright? What defines you to be a man and what defines you to be a woman? Because I don't know, what is it? I don't think there is, if there is a certain guide on how to identify a woman from a man, then it shouldn't be. Because, like, I don't think if you have a dick, you're necessarily a man, and if you have a vagina, you're not necessarily a woman. I mean, I don't wanna, like, talk shit or anything right now, but, like, for example, if you look at Serena Williams, if you look at her, she definitely looks way more like a man than a woman, right? We know she's a woman, but if you saw her from far and you didn't see her head, would you say she's a woman or would you say she's a guy? I would say she's a guy. Nothing against Serena Williams. I think she's an amazing athlete, but I'd say she has a shit ton of male hormones in her body that make her as strong as she is. She does have a vagina, she does have boobs, but she has a lot of male hormones. So is she actually closer to a woman or is she closer to a man? Well, I don't know. I don't know an answer to that question. I feel like it's mostly in the mind. The issue is that mind is so fragile that since this whole transgender movement began, there is a lot of people that decide to change their gender even though they're not actually the other gender. They just do it because they hear it from the outside, they see it in the news, and then they're like, oh, that's why I feel uncomfortable. I guess I'm a different gender, right? That's not necessarily it. That's you manipulated into thinking that's your problem. There is a shit ton of issues that can make you feel the way these transgender people feel. So yeah, I don't have a definite answer to that question. What I wanted to talk about is obviously, for example, you had a girlfriend, right? You fucked her for like 2 years and now she tells you, I'm a man. Or I used to be a man, rather. What do you do? I would feel very uncomfortable. But when you think about it, if we didn't have this social stigma, then you'd be like, whatever, dude. Like, we're together for 2 years, right? I love you. Nothing changed. Who cares if you're a man or a woman? I love you. But because of the social stigma, because it is so uncommon, it's so weird, so unique, so different, you're not used to that kind of thing, right? Like you never heard about your friends having the same experience or your relatives having the same experience. So you feel very uncomfortable at that point. And I think it's more likely than not that you leave the relationship, right? Because it's just so fucking weird. But it is illogical because you did love that person. The person did not change, right? Just by telling you she used to be a man, she did not change in any way whatsoever. She's still the same person. Now you just know a superficial information about her from her past. Well, interestingly, because of the social stigma, I might leave that relationship. So again, I do not have any issues with sexual relationships between transgender people and their either heterosexual or homosexual relationships they have. And now it's probably time to go to the fetish side of things, which is Game for Funkock's popular. I heard he's a necrophilic. And I'll start with necrophilia because from the top of my head it's like the most interesting one. Necrophilia is basically that you are attracted only to dead bodies. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be like levels of necrophilia. Some might only fucking be able to fuck a skeleton, some like rotten meat, some like fresh corpse, right? And it's very interesting to say like, is this correct? I mean, obviously, if you find a fucking person going on a sidewalk, you kill them just to fuck them because you're necrophilic. Yeah, we could probably find some bad things about that. But let's say you work in a morgue, right? You work in a morgue, there's a new corpse, and you fuck it. Is it wrong? It's a corpse, right? So, what is it called? Religious wise, it's only a shell. The soul is already gone in heaven or hell or whatever, right? So it's not like your soul gets abused. If you're not religious, then obviously your brain is off. So your body doesn't matter. Like all your personality is your brain. So is it wrong? I am very progressive person. I don't find it wrong. If someone fucked my dead body, if some fucking 40-year-old fucking MILF was working in a morgue, she'd be like, damn, look at the fucking beard. I just wanna fucking snip all of the fucking beard and let you penetrate me, boy. I'm pretty sure necrophilic women have it harder because, like, our dicks are not hard after we die, right? If you're a necrophilic man, you just go into the vagina, but if you're a necrophilic woman, you can't get the dick hard, so it might be a little bit awkward now when I think about it. I'd love to talk to some necrophilic women about it, like how they actually substitute for the lack of hardness and length, since I think the dick needs to be at least 6 centimeters to penetrate the vagina completely. Now to give you reach the main point of pleasure. So it is definitely a question, but I don't find it wrong, though it is probably illegal, but morally I do not find it wrong. I don't. Even though I'm pretty sure most of you would probably disagree with me. Which we could talk about then pedophilia, which I guess we can say is a part of a fetish. I mean, we could talk about also, I don't know what's called, amputophilia. It's basically people attracted to people that don't have limbs. But then again, I don't find an issue with it as long as you don't cut the limb off of a person, right? In pedophilia, I find a really interesting thing, and that's holding child pornography. I wonder if there are like two groups of child pornography, because there is obviously child pornography made to be child pornography, right? You get your fucking kid, you get him naked, and you photograph it to make child pornography, which is fucked up, obviously. And if you know a person who did it, get it from him and don't do anything about it, that's terrible too. But there is also child pornography where fucking parents picture their fucking naked kids when they were like 3 years old jumping around a fucking pool, right? Which is a photo that is child pornography, but it was not meant to be a child pornography. I feel like if people hold these pictures of just natural, let's call it natural child pornography. Okay, I know it sounds weird. It is a natural child pornography, okay, Chad? Let's call it that. If people have this, I don't think they committed any offense whatsoever. I don't see anything wrong with it whatsoever. Like, I just don't. If they hold the other one, then I'd say it depends on where they got it. If they got it randomly from the internet, I don't mind. If they got it from someone and they didn't do anything about it, then I find it highly immoral. Though it's obviously a thin ice at this point, right? I mean, like, you have to understand, if they just fab to naked kids, who does it hurt? It hurts no one. Like, if they actually don't go to a kid and do something with a kid, that is when you hurt somebody. If you just fab to pigs, you don't hurt anyone. If someone was just, right now, if someone was fucking fingering in their fucking vagina over my fucking 4-year-old photo where I'm fucking flapping my fucking dick all around the fucking pool, I wouldn't give a fuck. Enjoy yourself. Like, why would that be an issue? And obviously no one would even know about it, but even if I knew about it, I wouldn't give a single fuck. I really wouldn't. I'd be fucking flattered probably. So yeah, I don't find anything wrong with that, and I find it highly unfair because when you think about it, if these people have the stimuli to jack off and release the sexual tension that obviously over time builds up just through fucking pictures or videos, then it's probably a good thing, right? Because it makes them way less likely to actually contact a child, kidnap a child, or fucking ambush a child outside, so they can release their sexual tension that way. So yeah, I think like that's a very, very stupidly made social stigma that should probably become obsolete. Plus, when I was watching this Chris Hansen show on Crime Watch Daily, which is on YouTube, you can check it out, he was catching pedos there, right? But like only every 5th guy was a pedo. Most of them were just sadistic sex offenders, meaning that they just decided to target a child because either they were unable to get a relationship with someone their own age because they're just too awkward or shy, so they go for a child because it's an easy prey, right? Or they were that sadistic that they wanted a child because they could put more physical and mental abuse on them, right? But those are not pedophiles. Pedophiles are people that are only attracted to child. They can't have sex with someone of their same age. The dick doesn't get hard from them. That is a pedophile. People who are just going for children because they're easier prey, those are just sex offenders. Those are sadistic people. Those are psychotic people. They are different. So like, don't mix apples with potatoes. Like, don't fucking hate pedophiles for fucking child abusements that are not caused by pedophiles, but just by fucked up immoral people. I just find it highly unfair. They're really not. So yeah, that's probably my thoughts about it. You guys can comment. Was definitely a very, very scary topic to talk about. I mean, I'm glad I didn't accidentally open my lolly folder on my background right now, because that could get really awkward. So thank God for that. So, what do you guys think about it? What do you boys think about it? Did you all just call an FBI on me? Calm down, chat. You don't have to call FBI. Pepe, stop. You're a bad bear. I'm gonna molest you. Okay, chat just died. Alright. Good job, chat. I'm proud of you. Haven't spoken about bestiality. Yeah, honestly, bestiality is way more scarier than a pedo fucking fapping to a picture of a fucking 4-year-old, in my opinion. And obviously I shouldn't talk about sexual differences that include me, right? Like I could just accidentally say out loud that I finger Pepe every night, which is obviously illegal. So you have to be careful about that.